Pardes refers to approaches to biblical exegesis in rabbinic Judaism or to interpretation of text in Torah study. The term, sometimes also spelled Pardes, is an acronym formed from the same initials of the following four approaches: Peshat, surface, or the literal meaning; Remez, hints, or the deep meaning beyond just the literal sense; Derash, from Hebrew darash; inquire, the comparative meaning, as given through similar occurrences; sod, secret, or the esoteric, mystical meaning, as given through inspiration or revelation. Each type of Pardes interpretation examines the extended meaning of a text. As a general rule, the extended meaning never contradicts the base meaning. The Peshat means the plain contextual meaning of the text. Remez is the allegorical meaning. Derash includes the metaphorical meaning, and sod represents the hidden meaning. There is often considerable overlap. For example, when legal understandings of a verse are influenced by mystical interpretations, or when a hint is determined by comparing a word with other instances of the same word. Some books such as Torah divide Pardes into Peshat, Remez, Din, and Sod. According to this understanding, Derash is divided into the homiletics, which are classified under Remez, and legal interpretations, which are classified under Din. Context: exoteric and esoteric. In Sod, exoteric means that scripture is read in the context of the physical world, human orientation and human notions. The first three exegetical methods, Peshat simple, Remez hinted, and Derash homiletic, belong to the exoteric, nigla revealed part of Torah embodied in mainstream rabbinic literature, such as the Talmud, Midrash, and exoteric-type Jewish commentaries on the Bible. Esoteric means that the surface meaning of Scripture, as with esoteric texts in general, while it may also be true, is not the real truth to which Scripture refers. Instead, the surface meaning hides, covers, conceals its real intention. The real truth is the secret hidden within the deceptive covering. The fourth level of exegesis, Sod secret, belongs to the esoteric, Nistar hidden interpretations of Scripture found alternatively in Jewish mysticism, Kabalah, or in Jewish philosophy, metaphysics. Religious adherents of Kabalah and of rationalism fought over their alternative claims to know the esoteric meaning. In medieval Jewish rationalism, the hidden truth within Scripture was human-centered divine transcendence, philosophical depths. In Kabbalistic mysticism, it was God's persona-centered divine immanence emanations. Therefore, each tradition interpreted classic rabbinic references to Pardes, Maaseh Bereshit, Maaseh Merkabah, and to the connected fourfold structure of Pardes exegesis differently. Both mystical and rational religious Judaism, however, together rooted in mainstream rabbinic literature and mitzvot observance, accepted common truth in Peshat, Remez, and Derash levels of Judaism. In this way, Jewish religious esotericism is inseparable from exoteric Judaism. Their esoteric meanings did not deny the truth of exotericism, but rather reinforced the need for exoteric halacha, Jewish law, and practical observance of the 613 mitzvot as God's plan in creation. The mystical view of esoteric Sod secret as the elite doctrines of Kabalah also gave conceptual context to Peshat, Remez, and Derash. In the mystical unfolding of the spiritual four worlds, each realm corresponds to a level in Pardes. God's immanence is found at successively descending levels of reality. Torah descends from on high, while man ascends the levels of Pardes exegesis in Torah from below. In this sense, ascending the four levels of interpretation reveals greater divinity in Torah. The exoteric and esoteric are linked in a continuous chain. While rationalists read rabbinic Agadah legends metaphorically, Kabbalists read them as allusions to Kabalah. halacha and agada in Peshat, Remez, Derash. Within mainstream exoteric classic rabbinic literature, such as the Talmud and Midrashim, halacha is Jewish legal discussion and ruling, while agada is Jewish theological, narrative discussion. As two approaches in exoteric Judaism, so Peshat simple, Remez hinted, and Derash homiletic exegesis methods, which work exoterically, can be used in either halachic or agadic contexts. Examples: Peshat, and the earth was empty and formless. Rashi, the Hebrew word tohu means astonishment in English, and the word bo'u means emptiness and next to emptiness. Thus the phrase is amazement and desolation. This means that a person would be amazed and astonished at anything that was there. Remez agadic example. There is a traditional rabbinic passage describing spiritual history that relates the 6 days of creation to the 6,000 years the world will exist, and the Sabbath to the 7th millennium Messianic era. The first 2,000 years of creation from Adam, through Noah and the Tower of Babel, to Abraham were 2,000 years when God was hidden. The next 2,000 years from the Israelite patriarchs, through the giving of the Torah at Sinai, to the first and second Jewish commonwealths and temples in Jerusalem, were 2,000 years of divine revelation. The final 2,000 years of preparation, when the Jewish Messiah is waited for, are 2,000 years balanced between divine concealment and revelation. A Remez allusion to this is found in the first verse of the Torah. In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Of these 7 words, only Hashemayim, heavens, has no letter Aleph, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, numerical value of 1. Aleph hints at its etymological variants, Aleph and Aleph, the first representing the one God, the second representing 1,000 years. Hebrew root words are generally made from 3 consonant letters, as vowels are read in pronunciation instead. Hebrew reads from right to left. Of the 6 words with Aleph in them in the verse, in the first 2 Aleph is positioned as third letter, in the next 2 Aleph is positioned as first letter, in the last 2 Aleph is positioned as second letter. This is a Remez allusion exegesis, but gains further meaning in Kabalah Jewish mysticism by the Kabbalistic doctrine that creation was enacted through the Hebrew letters of the Torah. Halachic example Q. A hint that the law of conspiring witnesses is in the Torah. Where is it? A. There is no such hint, because it is stated explicitly you did to them what they conspired to do to the accused. Q. But a hint that conspiring witnesses receive a whipping according to the Torah. Where is it? A. As it says they caused the righteous to be righteous and the evil to be evil, and therefore the evil get whipped. Q. Because they caused the righteous to be righteous and the evil to be evil, and therefore the evil get whipped. A. But there must have been witnesses who testified that the righteous were evil, and other witnesses came and caused the righteous to be known as righteous as they were before, and caused the previous witnesses to be known as evil, and therefore the evil get whipped. Derash. Rabbi Simlai adduced that there were 613 mitzvot taught to Moses at Mount Sinai. The verse says that Torah was given to us through Moses at Sinai. The Geometry of Torah is 611. And one should add to them the first 2 of the 10 commandments that were given directly by God to the Jews, making the total 613. Sod. Maimonides, in his Guide for the Perplexed, Maimonides read the most important book of medieval Jewish philosophy. In it he declares his intention to conceal from the average reader his explanations of Sod, esoteric meanings of Torah. Religious Jewish rationalists read Maimonides' Aristotelianism as a mutually exclusive alternative metaphysics to Kabalah, as does the mainstream academic view on Maimonides. According to this, medieval Jewish rationalists and their heirs today hold that only philosophy can extend the human capacity as much as possible to understand divine secrets, rather than a revealed theosophy like Kabalah. Some academics hold that Maimonides' project fought against the proto-Kabalah of his time. Kabbalists and their heirs, however, read Maimonides according to Kabalah or as an actual covert subscriber to Kabalah. According to this, he employed rationalism to defend Judaism rather than limit inquiry of Sod only to rationalism. His rationalism, if not taken as an opposition, also assisted the Kabbalists, purifying the transmitted teaching from mistaken corporeal interpretations that could have been made from earlier Jewish mysticism. Though Kabbalists held that the theosophy alone allowed human access to divine mysteries, in this passage Maimonides mentions divine secrets within Torah. Adam and Eve were at first created as one being, having the backs united. They were then separated, and one half was removed and brought before Adam as Eve. Note how clearly it has been stated that Adam and Eve were two in some respects, and yet they remained one, according to the words, "bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh." The unity of the two is proved by the fact that both have the same name, for she is called Isha, because she was taken out of Ish. Also by the words, "and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." How great is the ignorance of those who do not see that all this necessarily includes some idea. Kabalah does not read scripture as analogy, but as theosophical symbols of dynamic processes in the supernal divinity. According to this, creation was enacted through the letters of the Hebrew language, particularly divine names. The Midrash describes God looking into the Torah to create the world, which Kabalah extended into a linguistic mysticism. United with the infinite divine, the text of the Torah becomes one long name of God, or alternatively, God's revealed being as represented in this world. Kabbalists endeavored to perceive the unlimited divinity in the Torah of the Tree of Life, through the exoteric Torah of the Tree of Knowledge, the two representing transcendent and immanent revelations of God in the Sephrot, uniting Tifrei and Malkuth, the teachings of Isaac Luria, which formed the basis of modern esoteric Kabalah. Read the mythological doctrine of Shavuot Hakelim from the account of the Edomite kings of Genesis chapter 36 verse 31 and I Chronicles chapter 1 verse 43. These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before there reigned any king over the children of Israel. In Kabalah, based on exoteric midrash, the Hebrew patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, embody the Sephrot of Chesed kindness, Gevurah strength and Tifrei beauty. Kindness and judgment are polar forces and beauty harmonizes. The imbalances emerged in Ishmael and Esau, while the harmony fathered the 12 tribes of Israel. Ishmael and Esau are considered the spiritual roots of the nations, deriving from the initial unrectified spiritual realm of Tohu chaos, whose pristine divine potential was too high to be contained in existence, shattering its vessels which fell down into exile. The Israelites relate to the lower realm of Tikkun rectification. The Messianic era for all people will embody both advantages of the highlights of Tohu in the rectified vessels of Tikkun, when all nations will ascend the mountain of God. Edom, the progeny of Esau, corresponds to unrectified Gevurah strength, the waste of which vitalizes the Kelipot shells. Gevurah is a constricting force in creation, allowing independent existence, but also causing the initial vessels of Tohu to act independently and shatter. The Edomite kings who reigned before any king in Israel, while also being historical people according to Peshat. In Kabalah, both embody and symbolize the vessels of Tohu that shattered. The verses name 8 kings, the breakages in the 8 emotional sephirot from Dart to Malchut. Death is the light souls reascending and the vessel fragments falling, animated by remnant sparks of light. Of the 8th king, only Genesis says he died, as Malchut remained partially intact. The sparks of holiness animate creation down to material existence. In the highest world Atziluth, the general root sparks number 288, read out by Geometry from Genesis chapter 1, 2-3, and the earth was chaos and void, with darkness upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." Merachepet divides into 288 sparks animating within the dead, fallen fragments. Pardes, exegesis and nestlings. In a discourse, Menahem Mendel Schneerson, the Lubavitch Rebbe, asks where Hasidic thought fits in with Pardes exegesis. Chabad is the intellectualist school in Hasidic Judaism, translating the mystical faith of general Hasidism and the movement's founder into intellectual articulation. The works of the last Chabad leader focus on uniting the different aspects of traditional Jewish thought, exoteric and esoteric, through the Hasidic explanation. The 4 levels of Pardes in Kabalah articulate the 4 spiritual worlds and the 4 soul levels in action, emotion, understanding and wisdom. In the discourse he describes general Hasidism relating through faith to the essence of the soul, the Torah, and God. In esoteric Kabbalistic terminology this relates to the 5th primary world of Adam Kadmon, and the above conscious 5th soul level of will, called in Kabalah Yehida unity. He describes Chabad thought articulating in intellectual grasp the essence 5th level of Torah exegesis. Hasidut Yehida not listed above the 4 levels of Pardes because as essence it is not limited to a particular form. Peshat, Remez, Derash and Sod are constrained by the limited disciplines. From Peshat describing material perception to Sod, Kabalah limited to the esoteric supernal emanations of God. As essence, Hasidic thought investigated intellectually in Chabad both transcends all 4 levels of Pardes in its own exegetical explanation, and permeates within the 4. Yehida essence is revealed through the 4 levels of Pardes, but not constrained by them. The particular exegeses of Pardes become connected together in light of the Hasidic exegesis. In this way, the discourse describes Kabalah, which gains psychological understanding through Hasidism, being actually a limited esoteric commentary on Hasidism's Yehida essence. Kabalah remains transcendent, while Hasidic thought emphasizes action, as the Atzmut essence of God receives its only true revelation in the ultimate material purpose to creation, the omnipresent divinity related to in Hasidic thought. Association with paradise. The Pardes system is often regarded as mystically linked to the word Pardes, meaning orchard. Pardes is etymologically related to the English word paradise, and the Quranic Firdaus among various other forms, in that they all share a common origin in an old Iranian root, attested in the Avestan language as Pari. It occurs only 3 times in the Tanakh, namely, in Song of Songs 4:13, Ecclesiastes chapter 2 verse 5, and Nehemiah chapter 2 verse 8. In the first of these passages it means garden. In the second and third part, in the Apocalypses and in the Talmud the word is used of the Garden of Eden and its heavenly prototype. For this usage comes Christianity's denotation of paradise as the abode of the blessed. Pardes and modern exegesis. The Pardes exegesis system flows from traditional belief in the text is divine revelation, Mosaic authorship in regard to the Torah, prophetic inspirations in the rest of Tanakh, and belief in oral Torah transmission. Modern Jewish denominations differ over the validity of applying modern historical critical exegetical methods to Scripture. Haredi Judaism regards the oral Torah texts as revelation, and can apply Pardes method to read classic rabbinic literature. Modern Orthodox Judaism is open to historical critical study of rabbinic literature and some application to the later biblical canon. Additionally, some modern Orthodox scholars have looked at Bible criticism on the Torah, incorporating some of its views within traditional belief in Mosaic revelation. Non-Orthodox denominations apply critical method throughout, but with different theological conclusions. Beginning with Samuel David Luzzatto in the 19th century, there has been an approach to understanding the Torah that finds statements in classical Jewish commentaries on the Bible that would allow acceptance of revelation, and still use lower criticism. Comments of Rashbam, Ibn Ezra, Ibn Kaspi, Judah HaHasid, and Abravanel have been used in this historical philological form of Peshat. In the 20th century, the conservative Judaism philosopher-theologian Abraham Joshua Heschel, while accepting modern scholarship, saw existentialist revelation and divine encounter as the foundation of legitimate Bible interpretation. His 1962 masterwork, Torah min Hashemayim B'Spekularia Shel HaDorot, is a study of classical rabbinic theology and Agada, as opposed to Halakha in revealing the divinity of Torah study. It explores the views of the rabbis in the Talmud, Midrash, and among the philosophical and mystical traditions about the nature of Torah, the revelation of God to mankind, prophecy, and the ways that Jews have used scriptural exegesis to expand and understand these core Jewish texts in a living, fluid spiritual exegesis. Comparisons with other traditions. The Pardes typology has some similarities to the contemporary Christian fourfold allegorical scheme. The great Muslim scholar and Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, the last caliph before the schism of Sunni and Shia, expresses in similar fashion that the Quran has four levels of interpretation similar to that of the Pardes. The Book of God has four things: literal expression, allusion, subtleties, and deepest realities. The literal expression is for the common folk, the allusion is for the elite, the subtleties are for the friends of God, and the deepest realities are for the prophets.